Welcome to this week's episode of Mining the Comments. This week we'll discuss the difference between thoughts and thinking. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who's taken the time to post questions or comments, as it allows me the opportunity to hopefully try and help those that are struggling with insomnia. And again, I also want to thank all those who have been so supportive along the way. So I greatly appreciate it. So let's get to our question for this week. OfficialGaming asks, how to get rid of thoughts. I've been sleeping fine for months, taking supplements, fear and insomnia are back. How to let go of all supplements and sleep normal. Scared, fast heart rate, and Googling says it's brain diseases. Ouch. So let's break that question down in a couple of sections, 4 sections. I think I've broken it down into those 4 sections. So the first question is going to be how to get rid of thoughts. And I would say, number 1, how we view thoughts and how we respond to them can be super helpful. So our brain is going to have thoughts constantly. It really makes a difference whether we engage with those thoughts or just let them flow. I think about, let's say you and I were standing, I'm thinking about standing at an intersection, busy intersection, and there's these cars that are obviously constantly just going back and forth. We can liken this to our brain, and the cars, of course, being thoughts. And we can choose to look at a car in particular or engage or focus on one, or we can choose to just kind of sit back and just watch the cars go by. So definitely a difference between thoughts and thinking about something. So the thinking is when we grab onto a thought and we start to dissect it and engage with it. So I don't know if there really is possible any kind of a way of getting rid of a thought. I really think that more understanding why we're thinking that way or why we're trying to get rid of a thought can also be very helpful. So I'm going to assume that these thoughts that you're trying to get rid of may be regarding insomnia, right? Maybe it's, what if I sleep, or what if I don't sleep tonight? So maybe like that would be a thought. And how can we make it so that thought we don't engage in and it doesn't become something very scary? Well, we can look at how the brain thinks and how it tends to catastrophize. On a regular basis, it's going to do that because it wants to problem solve. And so if we're thinking something like, what if I don't sleep tonight? We can say, well, look, this, once again, it appears like my brain is catastrophizing because it wants me to problem solve. And in this case, can we control sleep? No, we can't. Can we control our thoughts? No, we can't either. But what can we control? I can control how I respond. And what if we responded by, when these thoughts came in, we would respond to something like, I'm noticing that this is scary. This thought is scary. But in reality, we have no idea what the future holds. My brain isn't predicting the future because it can't do that. So what if we approach the night without any expectations? Because the more we start to create expectations, the more pressure we start to put on ourselves, one way or another. Even if we tell ourselves, oh no, we're not going to sleep tonight, we're still trying to make something happen. We're still trying to control the situation. And so this kind of a more of a neutral stance can help soften things. Now, this is so much easier said than done, but this can be helpful in learning to allow thoughts to be without having to do or fix anything. So I hope that's clear and helpful. Let's go to the second part of this question. It says, fear and insomnia is back. Whenever I hear anybody saying that fear and insomnia are back, I feel like we didn't fully understand and learn how to work through this. So I dealt with insomnia, I would say, a little bit over a year. It took me a while before I found Daniel's program. And when I started the program, I started to improve, but it still was a ways for me to feel like I was recovered. I still had speed bumps. I still had some rough nights. But when people say fear and insomnia back, I'm guessing that there was, once again, struggle or difficulty sleeping for whatever reason, little to no sleep. And we once again saw this as a threat. And it was how we responded that we engaged in this fear. And we kind of found ourselves back in that hamster wheel again of struggling with sleep. And so if we understand that as human beings, we're going to have a difficult night for whatever reason, we're going to maybe have a sleepless night from time to time. It's how we respond to this that really creates this cycle of having insomnia come back. Now, I've been coaching, I'd say, for almost a year. And throughout this year, I've had some difficult things come up in life because I'm a human being, and I'm sure all of us have. And there's been nights where I maybe have had little to no sleep. Now, is that insomnia? In my case, it isn't, because I understood that I can have thoughts, I can have feelings, I can have emotions that can be very engaging and can somehow make it so my mind isn't in a state of feeling comfortable or safe and wanting to go to sleep. And so whether it was an upcoming wedding, the passing of a loved one, whatever the case may be, there's been a couple of nights where I've struggled with sleep. As a matter of fact, just thinking about this, a few weeks back, there was I was sick, and I took a decongestant. It was pretty strong decongestant, and I didn't realize it. It was definitely felt like kind of an upper. And I was awake most of the night, and I didn't even think about it until days later. It's like, I wonder why I was awake all night. But once again, it was about how I responded to it, that I didn't engage in it. And so I didn't look at this as insomnia or there was something for me to fix. I was just up. And so I went back to the things that I learned in the program, like befriending wakefulness. So what can I do throughout the night if I'm struggling, or if I'm just not tired or sleepy? It's just accept it and not have any thoughts or feelings of fear, because I know that no matter what happens throughout the night, I'm safe. And so whenever people say fear of insomnia is back, I go, I think there's still this engagement and believing that once we recover from insomnia, any kind of a difficult night sleeping, that is defined as insomnia. So the fear is also, I would say, the not being able to control sleep. And so whenever we are once again in this situation of trying to control sleep or make things happen, fear, anxiety, feeling vulnerable can creep up again and make things very uncomfortable for us. So reminding myself that I'm going to have a difficult night or sleep disruptions really removes this fear of insomnia or fear of something coming back. Let's go to the next one. Letting go of supplements. How do I let go of supplements was the question. Everybody's timeline is going to vary. My question would be, what would be the goal of letting go of supplements? Are we taking supplements because we think they're helping us sleep, or are we taking supplements because we find it helpful? It's good for our health. It's part of the way we provide support for ourselves. So, number one, if we were thinking that supplements is a form of helping us sleep, and we're trying to let go of this, I would say, like any medication or anything similar to this, my practice was do it whenever it feels comfortable to start letting go. There's no need to put pressure on ourselves. Now, there's a couple of options. I guess you can just kind of take your time, and whenever you feel like you don't need it anymore, and it's just completely comfortable for you to just stop or minimize or start cutting down the supplements or whatever it is. But what would be a natural, comfortable way without any heavy pressure to just start taking less or quitting? Or you can also say, something, I've recognized that the supplements are not helping me sleep. So there's no need for me to take them anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a day or a time where I'm just no longer going to take them. But the conflict, the struggle comes when we are undecided, or we're not sure of what to do, when we're putting more pressure on ourselves. And so if we can do this without putting pressure on ourselves, without trying to be hard or critical, it really doesn't make a difference. It's just figure out what would be a good way, what would feel more comfortable for you to get to a point to disengage with this and move on. Because by now, hopefully, we know that the supplements aren't necessarily helping us to go to sleep. So, all right. And the last one, fast heart rate, searching online. Boy, we did. I did that too. I think we all do this. So I would say, just like in my case, I dealt with pretty intense heart palpitations. And so, of course, this is a sign of there's something physically wrong with us. That's what I thought as well. So I scheduled time with my doctor and had my heart checked, and there wasn't anything wrong. So I would certainly say that if you're feeling like there is a health risk, to check with your doctor and make sure that everything is 100% safe, that you're okay, there isn't any health concerns, any issues, first and foremost. Once we do that, we can also understand that anytime we put our bodies under a tremendous amount of pressure, stress, we put ourselves under this intense fight or flight response, especially for an extended period of time, the body's going to have a response. It's going to have reactions to it. And this example was given to me from one of our coaches, Coach Michelle, when I was doing the coaching training program. So it was maybe, I don't know, my goodness, my memory isn't the best, 6-8 months ago. It was a while back. But she used this example of watching a nature show. Imagine there's a rabbit that was running away from a dog or a fox or whatever it was. Anyways, and as the rabbit is being chased, all this adrenaline goes in their system and they're in this fight or flight response. If the rabbit gets away, it's going to hide, find a place, to hide and protect itself, whether it's a cave or a hole or a bush or whatever it is, and it'll start kicking violently. And what it's doing is it's letting go or releasing all these cortisol levels, this adrenaline that it has in its system. And then once it does that, it tends to fall asleep. And then it moves on. It doesn't have any heavier thoughts about it. There's no emotional trauma, as best as I understand that. So what is the heart palpitations? In our case, as I understand it, heart palpitations are a way the body is moving energy. It's moving this adrenaline that's built up in our system. And so it's not a danger, it's not a threat. And I had these heart palpitations, very intense heart palpitations, for a long period of time, for months. And they were so intense, it was so difficult for me to lay down on my back, on my stomach. I used to love sleeping face down on my stomach. And I couldn't do that because the heart palpitations were so strong. So the only position I could find that was tolerable at night was to lay on my left side. Any other position, I just felt these intense, of course I still felt it sleeping on my left side, but any other position, I felt it like pounding up against the bed and even creating more pressure. So it was very miserable, it was very uncomfortable. But once I started noticing the fight or flight response start to drop, little by little, I noticed that the heart palpitations started going away. And once I recovered from insomnia, I noticed that the heart palpitations had completely gone, had completely left my system, and really just, they were no longer a part of me. So I would say in most cases, these heart palpitations can be explained by you being in this fight or flight state. And there's so many other physical symptoms or responses. And I remember Googling it too. And of course, my goodness, it is the scariest thing when you jump online and you start hearing all the potential health risks. And all that does is just create more fear, more anxiety, and puts you in an even more intense state of fight or flight. So, Official Gaming, I hope this was helpful for you today. And again, questions or comments, please go ahead and post them down below, and I'll do my best to respond to as many as possible. I hope you guys are doing well. Take care of yourselves. This journey of insomnia can be absolutely brutal, but working through this program, understanding what insomnia is and how to deal with it can be so helpful. I've been through it. Now it's completely past me, and this should be helpful in seeing and giving you hope that you can get past this too. Take care. We'll see you later.
Hi there, Coach Style here, and I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the video that you just saw. If you are finding yourself thinking a lot about what your life would be like if you weren't struggling with sleep, if you had bandwidth for everything else in life that you want to do, if you felt like yourself again, if you didn't even give the night a second thought, well then I have news for you. Leaving the struggle is actually so much easier than we often think. Everything that you need truly is out here on our channel in our free content. The one thing that can be tricky though is that sometimes you don't really see where you are not contextualizing the teachings to yourself. And what also can be tricky is that it can feel a bit lonely and isolating to leave the struggle on your own. If this applies to you, then head over to thesleepcoachschool.com, because we have programs where you can join a community of people that are leaving the struggle, which is led by coaches who have already done so. And so if this, again, sounds like something you'd be interested in, head over to our website, thesleepcoachschool.com, and check out our Insomnia Immunity program. And if you decide to join, we can't wait to see you on the other side.